It doesn't. You can turn it off whenever. Doesn't matter. As long as it's not on the show.
Mm. Hey y'all, welcome to the Devon A. Morris Unfiltered call-in show. Have a seat. Let's get ready. You have any questions? Come on, call in. Come on to that Discord channel. Do me a favor, get the unfiltered crew some finger snaps. We're ready to get started here. Mondays, 8 p.m. Every single Monday, we're here. I'm excited about it. Are you? Let's get this show started, y'all. The greatest Scrum show on earth. I'll see y'all soon. Enjoy.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Today, we got a show for you. If you don't know who I am, my name is Devon Morris. Welcome to another unfiltered call-in show where we talk about Scrum, Agile entrepreneurship. If this is your first time here, like, subscribe, click the notification button, right? So, and then we know that you're around, right? So join us, right? Got over 1,000 people. We're growing. We're gonna keep growing. So make sure you do that. If you're here, do me a favor. Hey, talk to me. What are you doing on Juneteenth? Like almost like I'm saying, why are you here? Anyway, I'm here because I promised to be here. That's the reason why I'm here, right? But happy Juneteenth to those that celebrate Juneteenth. Happy belated Father's Day to all the wonderful fathers out there. Hey, one of the worst holidays on the planet. A lot of you all understand where I'm coming from, right? But anyway, the point is, we got another good show here, right? Today, our topic for today is going to be safe. Well, I meant to say safe equal, safe equal Safe features equal epics, right? That's what the topic is for today. And I'm looking forward to us actually having a conversation about that topic, right? It's a big one. I like the topic. I like it for many, many reasons. But it's something that came up during one of our shows recently. So I'm just like, okay, it's just time to deal with this thing accordingly. Stop fighting folks about it. I'm actually changing the slide as we speak right now to make sure that I got that taken care of for us. But the idea is that most of you all have a lot of you all have some involvement with safe, and some of you all think that safe features and apex are the same thing, and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it along the way. But first, drop your shouts out. If this is your first time here, let me know in the chat. Throw it in the chat, right? Say hi like we normally will say. I'll give you a shout out along the way. Let me talk about what's going on for me. Really, not a lot that's going on. Just enjoy Father's Day. Just had to do a lot of fatherly things running around, and respect to my elders, and then my kids and, all those little celebrations that happen, and then, it's just school, and then it's just getting things together for my client as well. And, I trained last week. I got training this week, training next week. So it's just interesting. Few things that are coming up, which some of you all may be interested in. We got a CSP-SM coming in July. We got an ACSM coming next week. We got the bankable breakthrough, turning your passion into profits. So we got all these things that are happening over the next few months, right? The bankable breakthrough is actually happening August 17th through 19th. Again, I'll send a link out there for you all a little bit later in the show. But other than that, it's just amazing. It's really good. Hey, how you doing, Andrew? Nice to see you again, my friend. Let us see you around, Andrew. Right, period. Right. Let me know if I'm off basis with this safe thing, right? As we talk and have conversations. Okay, so here's the deal. I'm pretty much ready to jump into this topic, right? Because I think it's an important enough a topic for us to really have a nice conversation about, right? So first and foremost, really nothing crazy here. We're talking about fundamentally, is your safe features the same thing as epics? Um, And obviously, I say here, is this really a question, right? Because fundamentally, there are people who actually think that they're the same thing, but they're not. And we'll talk about that. So, first and foremost, before I dive into anything else with this topic, what you need to know to just start off really in a very simple place is that you need to understand planning. Okay. And when we talk about planning, there are two classic plannings that we deal with, at least empirical. That should be empirical, not imperial, right? So obviously I need to spell check that. But you see, empirical, I'm not going to change it. I'm just going to tell you, right? So you got empirical planning versus defined planning, right? Defined planning is what we don't do in the agile space in general. So, regardless of what framework you're using, methodology that you're using, values, principles, whatever those things are, we're classically in the agile world not utilizing a defined framework. And the defined planning is really characterized by a few things that you see listed here. You got detailed and it's comprehensive. It's normally sequential execution. And then you also have stability, and then you have limited flexibility. These are classic things you will see with defined plans. Now, I say that because you need to understand I'm a Six Sigma black belt. DMAIC is associated with defined planning because it is very sequential. Everything that I stated here is exactly what DMAIC is. Waterfall is designed to be the same way. We just try to use it in a different way. So the idea is that in this world that we operate in, we have defined planning. But what we're focused in this world is more empirical planning. And like I said, I messed up this word, but with empirical planning, there's a bigger focus more on iterative and incremental. Probably more iterative than incremental, okay? Because everything doesn't build things piece by piece. Continuous feedback is a big part of it, transparency and embracing change. So please understand, I am not talking on this side of the house at all about either of these topics. So please know and clearly understand that. Now, if you just breathe that in. Now, as you breathe that in, let's talk a little bit, right? Why would we use empirical planning? We utilize empirical planning for a few things. One of them is iterative development, okay, which is absolutely important. Collaboration is another. But probably one of the most important ones to me is reality-based prioritization because you're getting that constant feedback and then continuous alignment based on the feedback that you're getting. So you're having the cycle of things happen again and again and again and again and again over and over and over again, right? So these are the reasons why we would utilize empirical planning. I'm not going to say anything about defined planning because that's not what we're here to talk about. So that's just nuggets as we lead into the topic of the day. So let's jump into this a little bit, right? Well, let me ask you, is there anybody here that doesn't understand the difference between defined and empirical planning? If you don't, I would advise you to go and get some foundational things under your belt, literally, because it's a big part of all this stuff when it comes to agility. And I would consider it to be extremely foundational. Extremely foundational. And if you don't get that foundation right, you're going to get everything else wrong. And I would guarantee you that a lot of people that's utilizing these frameworks got it wrong completely. So I'm just telling you, just take that step and learn. You can learn for free, man. All this stuff is available for you free on the internet. So just go out there and learn a little bit more if you don't understand what I just talked about. Let's continue our conversation, right? What is a safe feature? Now, safe has updated to 6 point something, right? And when we talk about safe here, what you want to understand, and I just took this directly from their website because nobody can explain it better than them. So if you want to fight and argue with me, that's all right. Go fight and argue with them. A safe feature, fundamentally, is solution functionality that delivers business value, that fulfills a stakeholder's need, and is sized to be delivered in an ART, a agile release train that functions within a program, product increment, whatever you call it, right? So a PI, okay? I might have that program or product thing wrong. Now, here's the deal. Associated with a safe feature are three classic things. The first of those things is going to be benefits hypothesis. And a benefits hypothesis is a statement of proposed value. That's all the benefit hypothesis is, right? It's just a statement of proposed value. Also associated with a safe feature is going to be acceptance criteria. Now, acceptance criteria is really how you're going to measure whether you met the delivery. This is owned or managed by the product manager, okay? And then it got to be sized. Estimated to be completed within an ART, within a PI, right? So literally, these things are extremely important for any safe feature. Now, what I want you to understand is if you want to look this stuff up, this information comes directly from Scaled Agile. So you're welcome to go there, and I give all attribution to them, especially this quote. But let's take it a little bit further than that, right? Because as I think about some of the key attributes of a safe feature, it is that it's focused on user value, okay? And that's important for you to understand. It is supposed to be focused on user value. It is supposed to be testable. That's the main reason why you have acceptance criteria. It's supposed to be time bound. Time bound, art, time bound, art, PI, all that stuff, time bound, right? And it's supposed to be, well, at that level, it's cross-functional. Let me come back and let me look at you because I need you to understand this. At that level, that high level, that thing should still be cross-functional. That feature should still be cross-functional at that level. When you break it down, things might look a little different. But I am not talking about the broken down different pieces that happen however you decide to deliver it. But at that level, that feature should still be something that can be thought of as being cross-functional, right? So extremely important to set that aside and to make sure you understand that, okay? Now, I'm going to ask a question here. When I throw these attributes out there, do you see something different in your organization in terms of what they do? Is your features from a safe perspective, cross-functional, time-bound, testable, focused on some user value or maybe business value? Something to be thought about, right? Well, that's important because there are some other things that you need to know. Because whenever you talk about a safe feature, there's some other terms that you probably want to become familiar with. One of them is a capability. A capability is just really big functionality that can go across arts, agile release trains. And MMF is focused on validated features. The validated feature value is what it's focused on. Weighted shortest job first, WSJF, is a prioritization model. And then normalized estimation techniques. And notice that I didn't say story points specifically because normalized estimation techniques within that art allows you to be able to share capacity, forecasting, and decision making within that art. Which means you can compare things, you can do all kinds of things, right? Or a near normalized estimation technique, okay? So realistically, those are things that when you think about a safe feature, you should probably get a simple understanding of those things as well, okay? Now, I'm going to ask you all a question, and it's a really simple question. What did I miss out on? What did I miss out on? Right? What did I absolutely miss out on? Because the idea is that safe feature is those things. Okay? So what did I miss out on? You all let me know. Right? Very, very simple. I'm going to keep it moving because I want to talk about the next thing, the next topic at hand. And the next topic at hand isn't anything difficult at all, right? That next topic at hand is I want to really talk about what is an epic, right? Because if they're going to be equal, then we got to understand the perspective. And the first thing that you need to understand is Scaled Agile's definition of an epic is interesting. Not that it's good or bad, they just have a definition for an epic. That definition of Scaled Agile's epic is not the same as the XP team that invented the concept of an epic. Let me repeat that for you so you understand. The Scaled Agile definition of an epic is not the same as the XP team that invented it. Is there anybody that's surprised by that? Because if you are, that's a whole problem. You understand? That's a whole problem. Okay? Now, Scaled Agile's definition can be boiled down to being a development initiative. Now, can there be multiple user stories, features inside of an epic, capabilities maybe? Y'all debate that, right? But an epic is supposed to be a development initiative, okay? That's what it is defined as according to Scaled Agile. However, the XP team that invented it called it a big user story. That's it. It's simply that. If you notice, these things are not equal. Okay? Now, maybe you could say that an epic from a thought process has evolved. You could say that. You know, you call it old school if you want to, too. I see Andrew calling it old school, right? Saying the old school epic is not the same as safe. I agree with you, Andrew. I don't disagree with you at all. And if you look at what you see right here, it is obviously true. Obviously true. So then, we're not going to belittle it. Let's keep it simple. So then, what is an epic? All it is, once again, and I cannot make it any more clear than this, it's a big user story. There's normally a parent-child relationship between an epic and a user story, but there's no real differentiation in terms of size of that epic, except it's likely going to take you more than one sprint to get done. Have there ever been epics that I've had a team can get done in one sprint because they decide to swarm on it? Absolutely. But the classic understanding is that it's a big user story. A user story is something to get done in one single sprint, which means that if it's an epic and it's a big user story, then you're talking about something that's going to probably span across sprints, take more than one sprint to get done, period. Does that make sense? So that's it. That's all it is to it. Now, you take it a little bit further than that, right? Because when you start thinking about an epic, you need to understand some terms as well, like a user story. A user story is simply something the user wants. That's it. What is a theme? A theme is a collection of user stories. It's like me having a bunch of different cars in a parking lot, but I wanted to grab all the cars that were blue. So I'm going to grab the blue theme. And say, I just only want the cars that are blue, right? They're all cars. I'm just getting a collection of those cars. There doesn't have to be a hierarchy or a relationship that exists between them. It's just that I have this theme that I'm going to provide as this collection. A feature, by the way, has absolutely no meaning in this world. At least not to the original team that defined what an epic was. So the meaning of a feature classically varies from organization to organization to organization. I have seen organizations say a feature breaks down into epics, and epics break down into user stories. I've seen them say features and epics are equivalent. I see them say that epics break down into features that break down into user stories. I've seen all those things and tools that match those things. And last but not least, story points. Story point, a story point simply is the overall effort needed to implement the entire story. You know, all of the work that goes into it is what a story point is. That's all it is. Nothing more than that. It's supposed to be relative to the other things that exist, but it's all the effort that goes into it. Okay? However you want to measure it, you measure it. I don't care. Okay? So you just keep these things real simple and plain. They are not designed to be complicated at all. They were never designed to be complicated. Okay? So then you say to yourself, hey, what are some key attributes of an epic? Well, if you really just take it and just step back, an epic encompasses multiple features. It can include multiple features in there. It can include multiple user stories in there. I've seen epics have multiple themes that are associated with them in some kind of way. So I've seen that it can, encompass multiple things, right? An epic is really there for strategic alignment, right? It's there for long-term planning, and probably the biggest of these things is there to help with prioritization and the ability to break things down. That's what epics focus in on. So, what did I miss here in terms of epics, y'all? If you think about an epic, what did I miss? What did I miss in terms of the classic, agile, old school epic concept? Well, I could have missed a lot of things, but I took it back to the basics, to the most simplest concepts, way back in my beginnings, understanding of what an epic was. And yeah, it's evolved in organizations, but I always go back to that core concept of what it is, and I take it from there. No further than that. Okay, and I'm not here to fight with anybody or anything like that. But let me ask you a question, right? Because that's really it in terms of the presentation. As usual, I'm going to say if you like what you're seeing, then make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. It's important to do that. And then last but not least, click the notification button so that you can make sure you get notified when we're doing videos like this. We go live, and sometimes I like to release things during the week as well. So all these things are important. So my question for you all is, what did I miss here? What did I miss? What did I miss? Type it in the chat for me. What did I miss? Because the concept of an epic is really super simple. Say features, there's a definition there, right? And I understand how it fits into the world of safe. I have no complaint about it. It's amazing to me, right? But they're not the same. Even the safe epic is not the same as the regular agile epic concept. They're different concepts. So you can't say that a safe feature, epic, capability is an epic. It's not. And again, I'm saying epic, the old school version epic, I'm just calling it epic. Safe, whatever associated with, I'm putting the word safe in front of it. Safe feature, safe epic, safe capability, safe initiative, whatever you want to call it. They're not equal to an actual epic. Okay? So, that being said, it looks like to me that's at least as clear of an understanding as I can make it. Hopefully, I didn't confuse anyone. And I know those slides don't have no thrills in them, right? But it's just a simple way of just keeping this thing clear, right? It's just just is what it is, right? And so, Philip, how you doing, man? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Haven't seen you in a while, brother. Hopefully things are going good for you, Philip. I really need to hear what you have to say about this. I may be working in this environment soon. You know, and Philip, I say to you, like I say to everybody, yeah, it's definitely good to see you, brother. It's one of those things where I don't think you make this thing complicated. If you're doing safe, follow the rules of safe. You know the difference between an epic, a real epic, and a safe epic. You should know the difference between those two things. And they're going to be different. If they're doing safe, you probably need to align to those structures and those rules. And that's okay. That's all right. Do whatever it takes to make it work, because at the end of the day, it's all about delivery. It's all about delivery. And by no stretch of the imagination am I bashing the concept of a safe feature, epic capability. All these concepts have already existed in the agile world. They just got a little bit of a different definition in safe. They just redefined somewhat to work with in safe. And that's okay. I love it. I absolutely love it, right? As long as it works for you, it works. But the idea is that they're not the same thing. And anybody who says they're the same thing is sadly mistaken. They just are, right? Nothing really crazy about it, okay? All right, so we can continue to have conversations about epics, user stories, whatever you would like to talk about. But here's what I'm going to do, okay? I'm going to open up the floor for whatever questions that you may have. For whatever questions you may have. First thing I want to make sure that I do, I'm going to grab my link here and drop a link to the bankable event, because I want to make sure that everybody has that. I will have more information about this, probably create a video or two to make sure that you all have it. But there is the website to the actual bankable event. 3 days, 3 full days of turning your passion into profit. $97 is the cost, unless you want to do VIP for $197. But that's the cost. That's it. Limited seats is going to be in it, but it's 17th, 18th, 19th. Like, think 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock every single day. That's what we're doing, okay? So just know, more information coming out about it. But if you want to register, get registered early, because seats will run out. And I'm not extending the amount of seats that's going to be there, because I don't want to have to buy more stuff. To be truthful, right? So it's going to be a fun time. It's really going to be a great time, right? But it's turning your passion into profits. And for most of you all, you know that I've done that before, right? You know I got the time and freedom that I want to have with my life, and that's what I'm going to be showing people how to do. To take the thing that they love and take that passion and turn it into time and freedom for themselves, right? So that's what I'm talking about, and we'll be talking about that the whole time. And I expect to have some guests show up. Seriously, right? I'm gonna be working on that guest list and everything else. So we got less than 2 months to get to before we get there, but we're gonna have a blast, right? So on that note, come and join us for the bankable event, August 17th through the 19th. Okay. What else is going on? I told you about ACSM, ACSPO. You want to join any of that stuff? Just go to beardedeagle.com, training, and you can join me there. But here's the deal: you all know how this works. If you got some good news, if you like to talk about, um, you got a question about something, you want to talk about something in general, you are welcome to join me on the show. To join me on the show, all you have to do is utilize this link right here. Okay, that link right there, and we can have a conversation. Okay, you don't have to join me on the show if you have a question. You are welcome to drop your question in the chat, and I will work on answering every question that jumps into the chat. So either one works for me. Just make sure if you come on the show, don't be trying to watch the show while you're on the show. You're gonna have to turn the video. You're gonna have to do a few things so you don't hear yourself speaking and everything else. Just come be on the show, right? So we can have a good conversation. And the reason why I do this is because these recordings help other people. I can't tell you how many people have said to me time and time again, thank you for the videos. Thank you for the videos, because they're really inspired by the things that I go through, but more importantly, by the questions that you ask and the things that you actually go through, because this community isn't just for me. It really, really isn't. But it did start out for Bearded Eagle alumni, and a lot of people that end up coming around here as Bearded Eagle alumni. Another thing, if you are associated with the Scrum Alliance, you get a Scrum education unit for being here this hour. For those of you that's going to renew, you can utilize this show as a way of getting some Scrum education units. I'm a certified Scrum trainer. Me being a certified Scrum trainer means the time you spend with me is time that qualifies for SEUs, Scrum education units. Okay? I'm going, I done decided to go real hard in the gym, so I'm over here killing myself. I'm killing myself, right? So I'm trying to bulk up and then I can beat up people that like my daughters, ultimately. Um, no, I'm just trying to really be super healthy, right? And so I'm over here bulking up in the gym, and so I want to be fit at 50. I turned 50 at the end of the year, so I want to really look real fit at 50. Is really what it boils down to. Now, and I got other things that's happening, but I want to look real fit at 50, so I can be a sexy granddad, maybe. So stupid. I'm not trying to be any of that stuff, man. I'm just really trying to be fit. That's it. I'm not trying to be anything more than fit, right? So I'm in the gym killing myself, y'all. Really killing myself. Not every day, but more than enough, right? More than enough. So let's see. It's Juneteenth. Maybe people just decide not to show up. I ain't got no people around want to talk to me. So tell me what's going on. Anybody with any questions? Because there's no questions. We can always end early. I don't have a problem with that either, because I'm really here for you guys, and making sure that I can help you out any way that I can. Y'all see this bottle, man? This bottle's nice. I don't like to advertise people, but like if you have protein shakes, this right here is a good way. It don't have no ball, and you can shake it up and get a good mixture. Yeah, Andrew, anytime there is a holiday, and for some strange reason, I always have these on the holidays too, because I promised at the beginning of the year that I'll always be here. Any day that there's a holiday or anything close to that, it's usually a very quiet night, every single time, right? So I usually don't expect anything much beyond that. A topic like tonight, we could have talked about maybe next week, and it probably would have been a lot more people showing up. But on nights like tonight, holiday night, during the holiday after Father's Day weekend, people doing their thing, man. People around enjoying themselves, man, and going from there. Especially they had the day off work, and half the companies got the day off work. Most of them don't, but there's several that don't. I know a lot of people who don't get the day off, but a lot of people, whether they got the day off or not, they ain't checked. They are not checked into work at all today. So, all right. So I'll ask one more time. Any questions? Because if there's no real questions, y'all, I can go ahead and let it be, right? Yeah, people. Andrew, you know what? I would say to you, man, it's a tough thing. I expected more questions on the topic based off that topic coming up all the time in companies that I work with and on LinkedIn. It does come up all the time. But if you think about the explanation that I just gave, nobody can fight with it. Like that explanation is as basic as it can get. And it don't draw any lines in the sand saying anybody's wrong or anybody's right. It just is so agnostic to the fight. Because I'm so much not fighting people on what they want to do anyway. Most people, when they're asking questions on LinkedIn, they just want confirmation to do what they want to do what they're thinking about in the first place, right? So, that's the way that happens, and that's the way that works. And it is what it is, and I'm okay with that. Hey, Jeff, congratulations on passing that test, right? I'm glad you got the test done. Once you get the test out the way, so congratulations on being a full-fledged CSM, certified Scrum Master, right? You know, I I remember when I became a CSM, I was super proud. I was super proud. It was like I got my CSM in October of 2005. I clearly remembered it, right? I got it after I did that PMP in September 2005. PMP tortured me. Actually, it didn't torture me. I was really upset because I studied way harder than I should have. You know, when you are actually involved in something and you kind of grew up doing project management the way PMI was doing it, um, the test was easy for me, right? It was really, really super easy for me. So I do have someone that's joining me. So we'll see. Let's have a conversation with my man here. And we will make sure it's a good conversation.
A lot of
Fella,
people,
how you
man,
doing,
they got
man?
there overnight. They ain't checked.
I see you
They
joining me. You
not
know you
checked.
got to cut that whole show off. You got to hit the mute button on the show.
Trying,
Otherwise, we get
trying,
double voices.
trying to get that stuff set up here. Sorry about that. How you doing, man?
I'm all right, man. I see you got a green screen back there, man. You over there
I
doing stuff?
I do. I got the whole studio set up. It's all ready and everything like that. Anyway, I just wanted to talk to you about like kind of what your feelings. This is my first experience that I might be going to work in a safe environment. It's the first time. You know what I mean? I have not really. I've studied a little bit of safe. I've studied Nexus and Scrum at Scale and every kind of thing possible. I just kind of wanted to get your opinions. I know that I missed the very beginning of the show, so I wanted to get your opinion. What should I be looking out for, and how am I going to contribute? How am I going to be part of this? That kind of thing.
I would actually say probably the biggest thing that's going to be foreign to you would be PI planning,
Mhm.
right? And all PI planning is big room scrum planning. It's really nothing in that, getting multiple teams together to plan something really, really big. The good thing for SAFE, the really, really amazing thing about SAFE is that all the information is on the website. Like the vast majority is on the website. And it will tell you almost everything in terms of how they plan to do it. Like if you're talking about story point planning and normalizing story points, it's all on their website. It's all available for you to just go look at. So I would go look at SAFE's website for specific things, right? And then
Yep.
what you're going to find inside of organizations is they're going to be doing some flavor of that. It's going to be changing slightly because they normally change everything. But the biggest thing normally is dealing with that PI planning, that 1 day, 2 days worth of planning that you got to deal with, getting all teams in a room, how that's happening virtually these days. Back in the day, teams would get in a big room together and use strings or however they decided to do it to show dependencies. But literally, that's the biggest part that I would say would be the most difficult thing to make the transition to. You know, things like normalized story point. You'll find little concepts that are nerve wracking, like saying that you can normalize story points across teams or have any kind of normalization technique. And that's impossible
Right.
because of, but you can't argue that. You can't fight that.
Yeah.
You're just going to have the problem happening consistently, right? And then you might see, you're going to see normal bad behaviors that happen depending on how good their safe implementation is. But the idea is that probably the biggest things is that art at agile release training, and making and seeing how that functions. And once you're outside of the agile release train, then it's the delivery. It's the
Yeah.
delivery, right? The terminology, as Andrew says here, and Andrew's been probably done way more safe than me. The terminology is probably a big deal that you're going to have to deal with because some of the terminology doesn't exactly map to how outside of the safe world is, right? So
Yeah.
you think about the epic thing, and epic is just not the same exact thing. And you're going to find that safe will give you things to add to it, right? So they will say to you, this is what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to have some kind of a value that's associated with the business. It's supposed to have some hypothesis or basically a proposal on what the return on investment is. But it will tell you all those things. But I would guarantee you, in every PI planning that I have been a part of, they don't do exactly what SAFE says. So you're
Okay.
just going to consistently run into that problem. So if you think about terminology, PI planning being the biggest adjustment, Once you're outside of PM planning and you get down to the scrummer team, it's going to be normal scrum, normal Kanban with again some nuances that will work your nerves. You might run into a lot of situations where you're dealing with, well, the big item at PI planning could be where that's truly cross functional, but every team under that is not cross functional. So you might be delivering a piece of something that feeds into another team. So then you have to do things like make sure your definitions are done and definitions are ready or real tight between those teams.
Okay.
Like one team's definition of ready is another team's definition of done. That kind of feed you may have to do because one team is passing stuff off to another team. If they remain in a structure that's still siloed, or do they have truly cross-functional teams? That's what you're going to see coming out of that art. But you would know that in PI planning. So realistically, it's one of those things where when you start thinking about those teams is what's going to work your nerves, right? I have not seen at all a safe team that's been cross-functional teams below PI planning. I've not seen that. Okay,
Okay.
so from what I
How,
would say, it's going
how
to
are
be
they
more component-based teams.
how are they measuring value then? Like if the teams aren't cross functional, how
They can measure value in just a normal way you would, just based on return on investment, but that value would be at the higher level. So whatever the stated business value is that they think they're going to achieve by doing that feature, breaks down across that whole thing. So at that PI, you're supposed to be focused on plot value. You are absolutely supposed to be focused on value. But the idea is that when you go down to these teams that are not cross-functional teams, right? You're going to be passing things, really siloed teams mostly, from one team to the next team to the next team to the next team, right? So you're going to see, as we were talking about here, that value is at the higher levels. But, realistically, if you think about it, and let me be fair, right? Usually in our world of Scrum and Agile in general, you don't normally see value at the user story. You normally see it at the epic level. And
yeah.
so realistically, it's classically a roll up at some place, right? You may see sometimes it's at the user story level. So to see value at a feature or initiative or capability is more what you're going to see. But when it gets down to the core of doing Scrum with a Scrum team, and if you're the Scrum Master working with that Scrum team, I think, you can operate roughly the same with
Yeah.
these nuances of differences, right? Because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, the base of SAFe is Scrum and XP.
Yeah, it was the work that excited me. It was like it's older systems and it's
Hmm.
integrating in hardware and software. So it's the whole like contract that excited me, or else I probably would have stayed away from it.
No,
But
I would say that you do it. I mean, here's what I would say to you, man.
yeah,
And you need to be real clear about this, right?
yeah,
For me, every opportunity that I have had, I've learned,
yeah,
even though the title wasn't what I was expecting it to be. So my first time doing Scrum, I was a project planner,
okay,
which means my job was just creating Microsoft project plans and then other plans, and that's all I was doing was creating plans, nothing more than just that. So I would
okay,
just throw the title away, look at what they're talking about there, and just go learn as much as you can in that environment, because the thing that's going to help you, Philip, isn't all the broken stuff. It's the broken stuff that helps you grow more than being able to do it perfectly. That's where all the growth comes in at. Probably where I grew the most is when I went to USAA and they had a tremendous amount of problems. And that right there helped me to grow leaps and bounds because I was just in problems all the time. And so I would say to you, I would just go learn as much as I can, break as much as I can, try to run many experiments as you can, because you have these thoughts in your head about what if I tried to do this? What if I tried to do that? And see if you can try to do some of those things, because that's how you're going to learn the most stuff. And it doesn't matter to me what they call it, because on the ground, when you have a team that you're working with, and if that team is saying we're doing Scrum, it don't care what everybody else is thinking about.
Yeah,
Let's feed the system whatever we need to feed the system so they can leave us alone,
and we
and
can get
let's
our
just go do, let's get our
let's,
work done. And
let's
most
deliver.
people, realistically, they're just trying to do their work. That's it. So if I'm you, I'd be like, okay, yeah, I don't care what you call it. Doesn't matter. Um, if I'm working with a team, great. Can I work with this team and make this team the most productive team, more productive when I come in the first day? Can I make them more productive every single sprint,
Okay. Yeah,
every single
yeah,
cycle?
yeah, and like I said, and the work is interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And the work is really interesting too. So like that's why, like I said, that's why I kind of want to, that's why I want to experiment with it and everything like that.
yeah.
So
Experiment and have fun with it, man, because
yeah,
it is it, it's just nothing like it. It's nothing like making. It's nothing like being a part of helping a team get better. It doesn't matter to me how they're delivering, right? It doesn't matter to me if they're not doing things perfectly, and it doesn't matter to me if it's called Safe, it's called Nexus, it's called whatever it's called. At the most basic level, we're trying to generate value. So, what can we do to generate value and generate more value is what I would be thinking about if I'm you. Period. That's all I'd be thinking about. How can I help make this team better? And the more you can do that, the better things can be. The biggest problem I would say you're going to run into that I see usually with every single implementation that I've come across is probably an autonomy issue.
all right, okay, yeah,
And
that I can see that. I see that. It seems like this safe has a little bit of a hierarchical structure.
yeah,
Same way with discipline agile. They're both things that I've studied that I kind of have gone away from so far, but I'll incorporate and use, and if I need to. So
I would say don't run away from it, run to it, man.
yeah,
Because
yeah,
the statement is this, right? Um, when you have autonomy issues, you really hit on two big problems, Philip. You hit on motivation and you hit on psychological safety. Autonomy is the common component between those two things. And if you are able to get inside that organization and help to get your team more autonomy, you're probably going to see them grow leaps and bounds. So for me, I would want to really jump in there and really figure out what can I do to make this thing work? What can I do? What tricks can I try? And then just learn as much as you can while you're in there, because everything you learn is just going to be something that's going to go into the toolkit that is going to be able to help you do that next gig more, right? And you know what I always say to people: don't just be thinking about that opportunity. Be thinking about how you're going to position yourself for the next one.
yeah, yeah,
So it's nice. We always thinking two moves. We're not
yep,
just thinking the next move. So we always thinking two moves. So how is this opportunity going to position you for the next opportunity? Is how I be thinking, Philip.
yeah,
Period. And as long as you're doing that, and then the other thing that I would say is stay connected to the community, because we're human, and when we are around people, it's really hard to be dogmatic about something that nobody else is dogmatic about.
yeah,
So you can put yourself in a position where you start to dislike what you once fell in love with because everybody else's position is different. I say this because there was a point when I was doing Scrum inside an organization and I fall in love with the people that's there. And they're not down for Scrum. Their organization is against Scrum. And I
right,
got to a place where I was saying to myself legitimately, and I still don't believe it to this day, is that the certified Scrum Master is a waste of time. Like 2 days training is complete crap, right? And I
yeah,
was a firm believer of that, but that was because I had spent too much time with that organization. And
yeah,
so, be careful about how that happens. So just make sure you stay connected to the rest of us in the community. I wasn't connected to anybody else in the community, which started to jade me. Okay. So that's what I would say, to keep yourself connected. Okay, so really, really important. But it sounds like it's gonna be fun, man.
It does. It does. And that next step is I started a consultancy a couple months ago. I'm growing it. And right now I'm just doing teaching stuff. Like a couple of different companies call me and ask me about installing Kanban or Scrum or various things like that. They want to know about Agile. So I just go in and teach them about Agile. And then some of them give me a couple teams to help kind of guide and start Scrum with. So I'm doing that as well. It's not paying the whole bills, which is why I need this, but we're going to grow it. And I just bought your bankable breakthrough, so
Okay,
we're going to
no, well, welcome, because that's we're gonna talk about that. But what I
learn.
would say to you is start packaging those things. Start packaging those things. So and then, well, here's what I would say to you: if you're gonna give people your time, get something in return for it,
Mm-hmm.
like a little bit more than a testimonial.
Oh,
Something that's a little bit more than a testimonial, right? A video or something, right? About how good of a job you've done, right? Because now that turns into social proof for you. And you need social proof as your beginning, right?
yeah,
Please understand that when Bearded Eagle started out, we did classes for free and people wouldn't even show up, man. So we did lots of classes for free all over DFW. I have
wow,
people that still thank me to this day that are executives now due to
yeah,
the free classes we were doing when we
yeah,
first started Bearded Eagle. But it got our name out there, and in DFW, we've trained a lot of people, right?
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of people in DFW, right?
yeah,
But it started out with freebies,
yeah,
right? It really did. But I didn't do freebies without getting social proof, man. It's
yeah,
that social proof. And now, as you're doing that, you're going to see that people will start to grow in this thing. And when they start growing in this thing, they'll remember what you did for them, and then they'll start coming after you, right? I've
okay,
had people that I trained in 2013, 2014, 2015. That's now coming back to me, hey man, I'm leading this group now. I need you to come holler at me, right?
yeah.
And so you take that time and you're building it because you're building your name. And so you got to do that, but you need that social proof.
Well, that's a great idea. I'll start doing that. I'll start asking
Yeah,
people.
yeah. Don't do anything whenever you get that contract. Make sure you get that social proof in there. And these are the kind of tips that we'll be talking about in the bankable breakthrough, because you have to start someplace. But if you're going to start at any place, in that beginning, what you need other people to believe that you do a great job. Once you do a great job for one person, then they got proof that somebody else likes you. People like to jump on the bandwagon at that point,
Okay, okay, we'll do.
you
We'll
know.
do. Looking
And
forward, like
and
you mentioned that, and I was like, you had said you were going to do something like this. I'm like, I am in. I told you that if you did it, I was going to do it.
it's
Here
gonna
we
be
go.
big, man. It's gonna be big because what we're gonna do is over those 3 days, you should have enough information to be dangerous after 3 days.
Yeah, yeah.
Have
Uh,
more than enough information. So
well,
it's going to be fun. I'm actually looking forward to it. And I'm like clearing my calendar. I'm gonna be bringing some PhD stuff in. I'm a board certified coach now, so I'm just gonna be banging it all out, right? So it's gonna be tremendous.
I'm looking forward
So
to it.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait. But I always appreciate you because I know you always do great things. And I will say this on this show: you have done a lot of things for a lot of people, and my hat, I tip it to you because you do that out of the kindness of your heart. And I
Yeah.
just want to see you turn what you do into more of the stuff that you love to do. So whenever I see opportunities or anything like that, I will send them your way because I think that that is extremely important, the stuff that you have done, the work you have done, especially for other people. And that is also social proof, man.
Yeah, I am. We're about to start some new teams up for the Agile Endeavor. I'm taking a couple of months off. month or so. But we're about to start some new teams up for people running Scrum, looking for work.
But
So
but 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 understand something.
that,
You have proof in what you've done in the past.
yeah,
You
yeah,
need to get that proof together.
okay,
So nothing that you ever should be doing, you're doing for free. There's some benefit that comes out of it. And that stuff you've done in the past, get social proof from the people that was there because they're likely winning. Somebody in that group is winning now.
yeah,
And
yeah.
part of the reason why they're winning is because that existed. So get your social proof from that because that will bring more people to this group and that will give you more opportunity.
Got it, got it, gotcha.
You got it? So you got a lot of work to do, man.
I do. Got
And
to
that
set.
and that mess need to be on LinkedIn with all that stuff that John talked about. That stuff needs to be right there because
Yeah,
people need to know that that's the kind of stuff that you do as well.
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I'll start. I'll keep that posted up. I've got my posting habits on LinkedIn is getting insane. Like I've got the company, I've got Agile Endeavor, and I've got me personally. So
Yeah.
trying to keep up with everything now. It's 3 posts a day, at least. 3 posts a day. I take the weekends off now. I take the week.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but
Yeah,
it's
but
getting up.
just remember something.
Yeah,
Posts don't necessarily turn into money,
that's true. That's
right?
that.
So, and that's the key that you got to remember is that you have to turn this stuff into money, and most people that look at posts ain't buying.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you have to get in a position where
The
you
right.
get people to buy, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
that's the key is to turn that into something that's going to be financially beneficial for you and your family because it's not a good job for you to be here hungry and everybody else is eating,
yeah. I hear you. I
right?
absolutely.
So we don't sit up here and do all this stuff for free. We just don't. That's not because that will put you in a position where you will have to leave this work and go do something else that you don't want to do. And that's not what you're here to do. You should be able to take the passion that you have and turn it into profit like everybody else is doing.
I hear you. I
So
hear
I
you.
know you hear me because I hear it in your voice. So you just got to execute it, right? But I'll show you how it's coming.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it, and as always, it's like wonderful to see you. So I just wanted to come in and
Same here, same
say,
here, same here. And
thank.
enjoy that opportunity. Let me know how it's going for you, okay?
I will. I'll let you. I certainly will. I'm going out. They're driving out to Oklahoma City tomorrow, or the next day, to
Okay.
go talk. So,
Okay. All right then. All right then.
there.
I'll talk to you soon, man.
All right. Have a good
All
one.
right. All right. Bye bye, Philip. Just always good, right? I love that conversation. Enjoyed that conversation. Philip's an amazing guy, right? I mean, it's just some people, you know, I've done a lot of stuff where we do stuff for people, right? And I find value in doing that stuff, right? But you have to understand something. Everybody here understands something. You have to be able to eat. You must eat. You must take care of yourself and you must take care of your family. If you don't do that, you will end up not being happy. That's not how we play this game. It just is not how we play this game. Am I thinking wrong here? I think most of you all know this. So on that note, I'm gonna say to you, hey y'all, hey Patrick, I see you there, man. Hey, no problem. We having a good time as usual. You know how it goes. Andrew, I appreciate you. Thank you for all of your comments. Other than that, next week. I don't know what the topic is going to be next week. Any topics that you all want to talk about, drop it in the chat. But other than that, I'm going to say to you all, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you. I will see you on the Agile journey as we continue this conversation. So everybody, peace. Have an amazing, amazing, amazing week. But I'll see you next week. Enjoy. Bye-bye.